Hello everybody and welcome to EBINOTTI Beauty. I am EBINOTTI and we are going to do a makeup tutorial today. But first, I have to sort out this hair. So we are going in with some dry shampoo. I'm using the Quickie Me from Design Me. Everything will be linked down below as per usual and listed on the screen for you guys if you want to shop these products. So yeah, I really need to fix my hair. It's not even that, like, I think it was 2 days old, but I slept on it. I must have had like a real funky sleep. My hair's just looking crazy. So I love to use dry shampoo. It's a new thing. I never used it before, and now it's like it really saves you if you just want to like clean it up, you know? If your hair's a bit heavier than it should be. My hair is usually like pretty light and silky, but if it's heavy up at the roots, I'll just use a little bit of dry shampoo and then go in with my straightener. Any straightener will do. You do not have to have a very expensive straightener like this one, but I do recommend if you straighten your hair a lot and you're trying to lessen up on damage, investing in a great straightener. I've tried the GHD products and I really hope they've improved since I tried them because they barely lasted a year and then crapped out. I know they were super hot items for a long time. But that's the reason that I no longer buy GHD, just so you guys know. This is a Paul Mitchell Nero style. I got the 1.5 inch barrel, or 1.25 inch barrel, so 1 1/4 inch instead of the 1 inch, just because I do have pretty long hair. And I'm just showing you guys on this one side. Look at the comparison side by side. I mean, amazing. Needed to be done. So now that we're all cleaned up with hair, let's get into this makeup tutorial. I'm going to show you guys my casual everyday slay. I do this with a whole bunch of different colors, but today I'm just going to use the Madison Beer palette, and we're going to do kind of whatever comes to mind, whatever kind of colors I feel like I'll be wearing. It's a pretty simple look that you could achieve with any palette, any color tones that you really like. If you like warm tones, I'm going to go in more of a purpley tone today, but you can do kind of any colors that you like. So for foundation today, using the Fit Me. For primer, we use the Wet n Wild primer. I just found that it creates like a really great smooth base for all of my foundations, and I've been using a ton of different foundations with it, and it works good with all of them. For concealer today, we're using the Sheglam. Another product that I've been absolutely loving that's sort of newer in my collection is Sheglam concealers. The last time I looked on Sheglam though, they were sold out, so I'll try to find them, and if they are still available, I'll link them down below. If not, the Age Rewind is an amazing concealer that you can pick up at the drugstore along with most of these products. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is easier to find online sometimes than it is to find in your local drugstores, just a heads up on that. If you're new to shopping online or you've been considering shopping online but you don't really, I would recommend it. I'm kind of newer to it. I'd say I've been shopping online for about 5 or 7 years, but that still feels like I was pretty late to the game, late out the gate on that one. Yeah, just using a beauty blender to blend in all the concealers in the usual places. If you're new here, you have not seen me do this 1,000 times, but if you're not new here, then you definitely have. I always do it the same. It really comes down to your face shape more than anything, and then some great products. Talking about great products, I'm using this Makeup Revolution. It's actually a foundation stick, and I just got it in one of the darker tones to bronze up the face today. I'm using quite a lot of it too because it'll work as my contour as well as my bronzer, so I'm going to use it around the mouth, the jawline, cheekbones, and all that good stuff. Just really taking the time to press this product in and blend it all around. I'm using a brush from the BH Cosmetics brush set. There's a whole bunch of brush sets on BH Cosmetics that are super high quality. I really like their brush sets, and that's pretty much where I get all my brushes. So just making sure that this is all blended in around the jawline, and then we're going to go in with our beauty blender and press this all in, pick up any excess product, make sure all of our lines are nice and blended, and then we're going to go back in with this concealer. This is a lighter color, so we're going to use this as a highlighting concealer in the inner corners and under the eyes. The usual places, just a little bit less of this product to lighten and brighten up and make sure that we don't have any dark spots. Just using that same beauty blender, making sure we don't get any of the bronzer on that blender around into our concealer, and then we're gonna bake. So the Sheglam also, the brand also has a really great baking powder that I really enjoy. I always make sure I press out any creases that have set into my makeup before I I bake it down, you really want to make sure, because once you've baked it, that's it. Those creases are set in there for the day. So you really want to make sure you press those out before you go in and do your baking. I'm using a dense kabuki brush with a bit of a tapered point on it. I love this brush for baking. It's definitely my favorite. I don't even remember where I got it, but you can pick up brushes like this from a bunch of different brands, including BH Cosmetics. Baking in the T-zone, so down the center of the face. This is a very light, I think it has a pink undertone, this powder. And then cutting out under the jawline where we did those contours to sharpen that up and make it look really nice and clean. Again, this is like a highlighting powder, so we're going to blend out some of those edges. And then I'm going to press out the creases in my eyelids and use that same powder to bake all across the eyelid and the brow. And then we're going to set the rest of the face with more of a natural toned color. So this is closer to my skin tone. This is a powder from Makeup Revolution. I've been loving loose setting powders for setting the rest of my face, but pressed powders work really great for this as well. I use pressed powders for years and years to do this. Once everything is all set down, you can start to buff everything together. I spend quite a bit of time on buffing. For bronzer today, the Milani bronzer. I've been loving this bronzer. I think it's such a beautiful texture and just tone. I think it's really complimentary and very easy to use. It's very buildable. It's not too pigmented, so you don't have to worry too much about all of a sudden looking muddy. Again, just taking the time to blend that in and make sure everything's looking smooth. I'm going to use one more powder today. This is a mattifying powder from Catrice. I'm just going to use this to brighten up under the eyes and sort of chisel out the nose a little bit. If you're finding that you're a little bit sort of like if under the eye gets a bit blah after you bake it down, then you can do that with like a bit of a highlighting pressed powder. They work really great for that. I'm also using the Milani blush today. It goes great with the bronzer. They've got a few different tones in these rose blushes, and I really, really like them. So pressing the blush across the apples of the cheek up into the cheekbone area. I'm putting it a little bit on those peaks on my forehead as well, across the sides of the nose and all around the nose. So really creating that sort of wavy line with the blush. And then using an OG for my highlighter today, the Master Chrome. Like, this one is so trashed. This is, I think, the very first Master Chrome I ever picked up, and I still love it. It's still one of my favorite highlighters. This is another BH Cosmetics brush as well. It's just a different set. It's my Ray Ray set. Really love this brush for highlighting. It's very small, so it's very easy to keep the highlighter where you want, but it's also a blending brush, so it blends the powders into the skin really beautifully and gives it an airbrushed effect, which if you guys have seen my videos before, you know how important that is to me, that the highlighter is blended into the skin really beautifully and doesn't look metallic or like eyeshadow on the cheek. I hate that more than anything. So skin is looking amazing. I'm just going to brush up my brows and get the eye all ready to go, and we are going to step into our palette. So today, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to use the Madison Beer palette. These are the shades in it. I love this palette. I think it's great for the one and done palette. If you're traveling or if you just want one palette, I think this is the perfect palette, especially if you're close to my skin tone or you like the colors that I tend to use. I feel like this really is a one and done kind of palette. So just going in with a simple transition color, we're going to put this into the crease and blend that all around, up and out. So we want to blow it out a little bit on the outer corners. And then we are going to go in with this shade right here with our highlighting brush again. I want to kind of just amp up the highlight a little bit and see where I'm going to be taking it before I step into the rest of the eyes. And then going into this really pretty sort of purpley shade, lilac shade, I'm going to do the same thing with my blending brush. I'm just going to put that all over the transition shade that we just did and give it a bit of a lilac tone. And then going into this really beautiful chocolate brown shade. Again, just with a blending brush, we're going to focus this mostly on the outer corner to add some depth to the eye. Nothing too crazy, just adding a little bit of this in to bring some depth. And then we're going to blend and blend and blend until the end of time. You really do have to be patient with blending. I'm going to go under the eye now with the same tone but a different brush. I really like these round sort of fluffy brushes for under the eye. I think they create a really beautiful contour under the eye if you have any kind of creasing under your eye or you just want to bring some depth there. This is a trick I almost never miss. I don't fully bring it into the inner corner. I don't want to bring my eyes close together, and I don't want to bring darkness in there. I mostly keep it on the outer 2/3. Going into this deeper tone, we're going to do the same thing. This one's got a bit of a shimmer to it, whereas the one before was matte. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shimmer to the depth that we've already created. And then same thing, going in with this sort of purpley, it's almost like a bronzy purple. It's so beautiful. I'm going to layer that on top of the brown as well. So I want to bring in those sort of rosy purpley tones. I'm just going to use my finger because I don't have nails on right now. It's really actually kind of nice doing my makeup without my nails on again, because you get to get a little creative and have some fun. Being able to press your finger into the eyeshadow is always a lot of fun and just makes the process a lot quicker and easier, especially with shimmer shadows sometimes. And I definitely find the shimmer shadows in this palette to look better when you wet them and when you use your finger with a little bit of heat on it to really press out those pigments. They're so beautiful. Going back into that shimmery shade. Once again, I'm going to use my finger because I love doing it. Okay, so the effect of the payoff of this eyeshadow shocked me just a little bit. I definitely wasn't expecting it to have, like, look at that. That's like a pure metallic payoff. That's just like a foil. It's like a foiled shadow. It's so stunning. So love that. After we blend those edges out, I'm just going to throw on my mascara. The usual Lash Sensational from Maybelline, my ride or die. We're going to step into brows today with the NYX brow products. I'm using the micro pencil and the brow mascara. I believe they're both in dark brown, or I bought these so long ago, I can't remember what the shades are called, but you obviously need your shade anyways. I always go towards espressos, dark browns, and things like that. I stay away from the warm tones completely. So just using that micro pencil, we're just going to lightly fill in the brows and kind of give them a little bit of shape. Nothing too crazy. And then using the spoolie to blend those pencil lines out. Then we go in with the mascara, depending on how, if you had any harsh lines or anything, those little spoolies will blend those lines out beautifully. And that's that. It's really as simple as that, guys. In terms of brow, I like to keep things really simple and really quick. This is my favorite lip gloss. I pretty much carry these with me everywhere I go, the Fenty Gloss Bomb. It's very close to my natural lip color, and I just love them for every day. It's just such a luxurious product that I don't mind having that splurge moment on. So as you can see, I have really bad reactions sometimes to bronzers and brushes on my neck, but it does go away after a little while. So thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching this full video with me. Make sure you subscribe before you go, and I will see you on my next video.